Hi there, this is Brian Marovich. Thanks for watching the next video. In this video, I'm going to discuss several things, mostly around getting a domain name. Now, if you have a current domain name, like here's an example. Well, these are not good examples. Maybe the name of your company is the .com or .net, whatever it is. Here's an example. This, for example, is not a good domain name. This says bisontinsurance-il.com. So if you have a domain name like that, I don't recommend using it. You can still build your business around it, but it's just not very interesting, compelling, and it's very hard to remember. Secondly, one of the secrets to generating traffic is to get a domain name that is largely based around one of the primary search phrases that people are looking for in your industry. You don't have to do that. You can still, there's arguments against that, or not necessarily against it, but there's debates whether or not it really actually plays a role. But in my experience, it does. However, if you do have a domain name, like the one I just gave you an example of, barry'sinsuranceagency.com, that's fine. You can still work around that. But let me discuss this. Let's say you're in Chicago. I did a search for Chicago insurance agent, and this is what popped up. These are the ads, the top ads, the ones that are paying the most money and or are basically written the best. I don't want to go into that right now. And then you have your ads over on the right here on the Google search engine. I'm using Google because at least 80% of all searches in the world are done on Google, and in my experience, it's 95%. Okay, so let's say most people are typing in Chicago insurance. It's a guesstimate. Maybe you want to focus on a much finer geographic area. Let's say you live in Naperville and you want to just focus on Naperville. And you might type in Naperville insurance agent. You kind of have to get an idea for what people are searching for at this time when you're just beginning to get your domain name. There are ways to do some keyword search, but because on a local basis, it's hard to get actual keywords people are searching on a local basis, you kind of have to guess at first. You might want to go to wordtracker.com or use the Google AdWords keyword tool. Just type that into the search engine and see if anybody's typing in, if you're in Chicago or Naperville or cities or metropolitan areas or suburbs, see if people are actually searching on those key phrases, and then build your domain around that. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, post a comment on the page, on your video page, or you can even email me at avalanche@gmail.com. So let's just say, for example, that people are typing in Chicago insurance quote as an example. You might want to try to get chicagoinsurancequote.com, or if you're selling financial plans, Chicago Financial Planner. If you can get Chicago Financial Planner, that would be probably pretty good. And you do it all in one phrase, so it would be chicagofinancialplanner.com. You might also want to get the same domain with dashes in it. There is a debate in the search engine guru arena that says that you should probably just make your domain with dashes between the words, because the search engines can figure out what your site is more likely about. So I would get both and have have this as your main domain with the dashes, and then the one without the dashes pointing to chicagofinancialplanner.com, if you can get that. If you can't get that, you're just going to type in variations at GoDaddy, etc., until you can find one that's similar to it. If you're doing estate plans, maybe Chicago Estate Planner. Etc., etc. Living trust, life insurance, auto insurance, that kind of thing. And again, if you want to focus on a suburb, you might even have better luck there because it's much more targeted with like Naperville, for example. I think you get the idea. So that's it in terms of getting your domain name. Try to focus around those keyword phrases. Now, if you're going to stick with barry'sinsuranceagency.com, you can still work with that. What you need to do is, it's more of an advanced technique, but you're going to have to do this to get traffic to your site, is create articles around Chicago Estate Planner.com, Chicago Estate Planning, or Naperville Estate Planning. If you're focusing on life insurance, financial plans, those are the kind of things you need to write your articles about. Okay, so we're just focusing on domain names. I'll get into the articles in a second. So now we got the domain name part down. Let's move on to how to generate traffic on a local basis. So let's watch the next video on that, okay?